Well, we're going to beam our searchlights on a very pressing conversation around state policing and its, of course, potential impact on national security. You would recall that the National Executive Council had postponed all discussions around state policing amidst, escalating, security concerns in the country. Well, joining us this morning in the studio to talk about the quests for state police and expected impact on national security is His Royal Highness Igwe Sunday Orah. He's the chairman, Achi Traditional Rulers Council. Igwe, you're welcome to the studio this morning.
Thank you very much and good morning.
Thank you for coming. I missed your very tight schedule.
Yeah.
We appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, so in my introduction, I did mention that NEC, National Executive Council, suspended all discussions concerning, national state policing, rather. Why do you think they are so averse to state policing? Well, first of all, you could just give us a little bit of definition of what state policing means and why you think NEC is averse to state policing.
First and foremost, thank you very much for inviting me. And then we're talking about security. And security has to do with freedom when you're being exchanged one way or the other, when you're not being allowed to operate freely, then you see security is being compromised. So first and foremost, we must have to define what is security.
Okay.
So having said that, security is a very, very large word. But if we want to trim it down to the basic meaning of security, it has to do with, you have all kinds of security. But the challenges we have in Nigeria is more pressing because it has to do with human beings. You have production security, you have oil security, you have all kinds of security. So now that if you look at what is happening in Nigeria today, all over the country, our security is being compromised and it's giving us a lot of worries. This issue of state policing, I think, is something they have to go back again and see how they can rectify it and make it to be a law. It will help this country a whole lot. One, if police security is introduced, you know what that means. Every official or every member of the security team is known in the locality. It's not like employing somebody from somewhere into a place. For instance, I'm from Adu, and if somebody is working for me as a security and is from Adu, he knows the terrain very well. You see, he can't be guessing where to go or where not to go. And again, if we have state police, we traditional rulers will benefit more, because now that we don't have any kind of security at all, if we are allowed to operate as when due or the way we're supposed to operate as traditional rulers, we won't be having all this problem we have today. Because we are traditional rulers, we all come from one community or the other, and these criminals, they are from one place or the other, either within the community or they are coming from somewhere. But if we are involved in security architecture of a state or a local government, you'll discover that whenever there is any new entrant, we must identify the person. We must know this person is not from here. What is his mission? If somebody is coming to rent a property, we must investigate who is this person. What is he going to use the property for? You see, security now demands close monitoring, close surveillance, close cooperation, both with the police and if the state police is established. You see, with them too, we'll be able to manage all the lapses we're experiencing today. But because we handed ourselves over to Nigerian police or army, and they cannot be everywhere, every time.
Sure.
But if you're talking of community, you see that like the neighborhood, they're always there. They do a lot of work, even though they're not properly paid.
Neighborhood watch.
Neighborhood watch.
Okay.
They're doing a lot of work. So my take on this is, let them do whatever they can do to approve, pass that bill, this state policy bill, it will help a lot.
But can you throw more light as to why they are delaying? Because you did say something. You said that if state policing is established, it is going to benefit the traditional leaders.
More.
But how then do you think it will benefit the political leaders? Because maybe they don't see the benefits in state policing for them as political office holders. So how do you, explain that? Maybe they don't see any benefits for them at that level. And that is the reason why they are delaying. I don't know. I'm just trying to find out why they are actually, dragging, their feet on this one.
Fine. Thank you very much. What I feel is this. Everything in Nigeria is now being politicized. Politics has taken the main ingredient of this nation. Whatever you talk about, politics must be there. But if we are free to operate or air our view or our views, this issue of monopoly should be erased completely, because the politicians are afraid that if state police is established, maybe one party or the other is in the government, they will use those individuals to hurt them, or maybe they will influence whatever, especially when there are people within the neighborhood. They can influence the petition, the elections and all that. They are not thinking about us, about the people. If only they can think beyond their personal interest, we are going to benefit from it. Security is all about me and you. That you are made whatever you are today, and then you have no security. You have not made anything. If you come to Enugu State today, we are enjoying the little we are enjoying today because of the governor that is here. Proactive governor.
Even in security?
In everything.
Did you listen to a conversation with the sitting senator, House of Rep, I'm thinking Senator Kezia. He's a senator. Yeah, he was insisting that Enugu State government, Okezia, he was insisting that Enugu State government wasn't doing much in terms of security, citing what is happening in Uzuwani, most of the communities. Do you think there's he's right in his submissions, or he's not getting it right? Because you just alluded to the fact that Enugu State government is doing well in terms of security. So can you maybe give us indicators that will show that Enugu State government is doing well in security?
Thank you very much. You see, he has the right of his views. He is expressing his personal view. But we are the citizens of this state. And maybe he lives more in Abuja, and whatever that happens in Uzowan and all that, he may feel that the government is not doing enough. Remember that we only have a governor of the state, for instance, and we claim he's the chief secretary of this state.
Yes.
But in the real sense, he's not.
How do you mean?
No, there's orders he cannot give, and they carry it out. He has a limited control over the commissioner of police in the state.
Based off of the fact that it's not state-owned or under the state's
but it's true.
Framework.
Yeah, of course. That is left to our governor. He will do whatever it takes to clean up all these miscreants that is bothering everybody here and there. You can see investment in vehicles and all that, and empowering a lot of little security outfits to be on ground, buying drones, making sure that he establish drone centers that can monitor each local government. And then he has his own internal security that is not known. They are very private to the government. They operate all over. The one that give the information. Intelligent information. Where something is going wrong or where something is happening. Before you know it, they will nip it. That is what is called security. If our governor is allowed to operate freely, my dear, you will not see anything like all these killings and what have you. But because he is limited, to me, to my own understanding, I've not discussed this with him, what I know, based on what is happening in other states. Take, for example, in Benue. What stops the Benue governor giving a marching order for the soldiers or police to go there and clean up these people. But he can't do it. Look at Zamfara. He cannot do it. But what we are pleading for is they should get us involved, especially the traditional rulers. And then let us have the teeth to bite, especially when it comes to security. How do we bite? By giving the government all the necessary information. When we see something going wrong in our community, we call. Give us a hotline. We will always call and say, look at what is happening here. Give us the opportunity to interact with all the local government and their security outfits. This will help us a lot.
All right.
Check this. Okay, fine.
Keep
right.
on. No, please. Please, I thought you were done.
Coming to our honorable distinguished senator.
Yes.
His views. Uzowani is really giving us a lot of concern, each and every one of us. Because if it's happening in Uzowani, the same thing could happen in Achi or Nigeria, like it did happen recently.
It did.
And we lost lives. We didn't find it funny. We never see it coming. But if things are put in the right perspective, we won't be having that kind of stress. Government should get the traditional rulers involved in their security architecture. Whatever they are planning, they need to get the traditional rulers involved.
So we can capture intelligence at the grassroots.
Yes, we can capture intelligence at the grassroots and then get the government to know what they don't seem to know. They need to call us from time to time to give advice. We have a lot to give to the government, but nobody's tapping the resources we have, but as traditional rulers. They just left it like that. It's not going to work.
Oh, but there's one thing, Igwe, there's one thing I noticed about the Nigerian state and how things play out. Government doesn't just throw things or place things on your laps on a platter of good. There must be some kind of pressure or advocacy. Now, has there been some kind of advocacy from traditional leaders to the government in view of state policing and getting the traditional leaders involved? Has there been any push or coalition or advocacy, pressure group, come together to go mount pressure either through the legislature or through whatever platform to say, we need this to happen this way? Has that ever happened?
Thank you very much. Now, this brings me to our state chairman, traditional Enugu State Traditional Rulers Council chairman, Zodu. He's a young man that has devoted himself to make sure that security in our communities are intact. He has contributed a lot. He has pushed a lot. Like this bill, I think it has passed the first reading that has to do with traditional rulers. He is part of that team that is pushing. So that traditional rulers will have a space in the government setup. We don't have any space at all. We don't have any credible position through which we can be able to talk to the government. But now they are doing everything possible to say that this bill possibly will be passed. And that will give us a very strong voice to talk to the government and for them to get us involved in running both at federal and state level and local government level and then community level. That is what is happening now.
All right.
So they're establishing that pressure group and they're doing very well. Okay,
that's great. There's a question I want to ask you. It's a spin-off, but it's not strictly under our conversation, but I'll still ask that question later.
Okay.
Now, what do you think are some legal and legislative framework that will establish, state policing?
Okay. Now, I think they have formed a committee to look into this issue of state policing. That is that state policing?
State policing, yes.
Now,
was it before National Executive Council postponed the discussion or after? This committee. How recent is this committee?
Very recent. This is happening maybe last week or thereabout.
Okay.
It's very, very recent. But the fact that they never allowed this to see the light of the day, I don't know. If we are asked or if we can take a vote on this, you will see that a lot of people will surely prefer for us to have a state police. And then most of our leaders, especially the people in the Senate and the House of Representatives, majority of them favor this issue of state police. But the power that be, I don't know their problem. I don't know what I'll say will be. I don't know what actually is stopping them for this state police. Rather, what they're doing is to see that it doesn't come up. Which, of course, somebody said he wants to take care of himself, security-wise. Why stopping the person?
Given the fact that there are heightened security issues
all over the Federation. But you see, we are looking at them. We know we are limited to what we can do, say. But we're ours. That's why we're crying for total involvement, so that when we speak, government will listen. That is what we are begging for. That is what we are crying for. All this security thing you are seeing going on, I mean, all these killings and all that, if we are allowed to get involved, we have so many ways of taking care of this. This thing we are talking about, this security we are talking about, but because we are not involved, they will go today and kill people in their numbers. We only cry and complain. Next time, it will repeat itself.
All right. All right. Igwe, I still have more questions for you. We're still talking quest for state police and expected impact on national security, but we'll go on a short break. New Day continues right after this break. Stay with us.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking. Events occur and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Welcome back. Well, if you're just joining us, don't forget we are talking quest for state police and expected impact on national security. And Igwe Sunday Orah is in the studio doing justice to that topic. So Igwe, before we went on that break, I was trying to get to understand the frameworks, because there are frameworks that establish, things, for lack of a better word. So what is the legal framework for establishing a state police, arrangement? What was the legal framework? Was the legislative framework? And then possibly, what does the Constitution say about security if whatever you have on ground is not really protecting the people? Can you go to court and seek for redress, to maybe spoil the legislators to do something about it? There must be a way around, having this established. So what are your thoughts?
This issue of legal framework, I think it has to do with all the state assemblies passing a law.
All state assemblies? So there must be some kind of lobbying to get them on board.
Definitely, there must be. If we want to get this done, getting the state assemblies involved will help a whole lot. For instance, this time they had this issue of, I think it has to do with the Population Commission. And then all the state assemblies were asked to go back home and deliberate on this and come up with their own
recommendations.
Conditions and what have you. And they did a very good work on that. Like the state police, I really like the federal government to refer them back to the state assemblies so that they will come out with their own ideas. How? Because each state, the security architecture or whatever that's happening is peculiar to them.
Yes.
What is happening in Igwe State is not what is happening in Zamfara. But if all of them can come together and share interests, discuss issue of security, you will see they will know the importance of police, for instance, state police. They will be in position to have a very strong force as a front, to push either in the National Assembly or through the government. And again, I want you to understand that for going to seek a redress in the court may not work. You understand? Looking at what is happening in Nigeria today, the voice of the people may not matter. It's what they want to do, they will do. So all this issue of seeking a redress or not may not even be necessary. You can only do that where things are done the way it's supposed to be done. So we have a lot of other ways we can address this issue and get a better result.
Okay.
If only we have a federal government listening ear. I think that will give us a very big...
well, given the fact that, like you just said, federal government is not giving in a listening ear, it's not giving a listening ear, do you think the pushback that we are getting on this issue is probably based on the fact that Nigeria doesn't really practice true federalism? So it will be difficult to actually tell states to manage their own, policing. Would you think that is an issue? And then, are there precedents, maybe in other African countries where this worked out, countries that practice the same governance as Nigeria does? So are there precedents to this? And then do you think the reason why it's not working out is because Nigeria is not really practicing true federalism?
Thank you very much. You see, this question is very complex in the sense that I wouldn't say Nigeria is not practicing true federalism at all.
They're not practicing federalism at all.
At all. To my own understanding from my own point of view. If you look at what is happening in this country, you will see that everything has gone so bad that people are beginning to lose interest in the government of the country. If we are serious about so many things, we must allow states to dictate their own welfare.
But isn't that a constitutional matter? It's not something somebody can just wake up and just declare.
It's a constitutional matter.
Okay.
You don't just get up and start doing certain things. You will run into crisis. You have to go through the system, whether you like it or not.
So should we go through a constitutional amendment to have state policing established in Nigeria?
Of course, if I think they should go through. Let me tell you something. The governor of Zamfara State is now asking for self-defense. What does that mean? That people should be allowed to defend themselves. It has gotten to that level. The federal government said, no, you don't have right to defend yourself. Take, for instance, I read that was sometime last week. Somebody was sentenced to death for fighting an invader who wanted to kill him. And it ended up dealing with that fellow. He was sentenced to death for defending himself.
Was it under Sharia law?
I wouldn't know what law that brought that one, but any law it is it fair? It's not fair. That somebody, you see, that is why we're having all this mess all over the places. These people will come to your farm and uproot your cassavas and destroy your farm.
Rape and kill.
And rape and kill our people, and nobody seems to be talking. And they will do it and go. It's not done anywhere. You are just provoking people unnecessarily. Won't stop the government from enacting a law that nobody, under no circumstance, should go into the people's farm and destroy their crops. This food scarcity you are talking about today is because of this invasion. If the people are allowed to go to their farm and do their normal farming, you have food all over the places. But today, people are scared of going to their farm because of the situation we find ourselves. So to me, I think whatever it takes to get this law passed, this state police, is very, very necessary. We don't have to wait until we are finished here before we start talking about something that will give us a kind of security. So that is just the position.
Okay. Like I told you, there was a follow-up question that is not really around this, and I wanted to ask you because you did say something. You said that there's a push from traditional rulers to get more involved in not just the security architecture, but in governance. Now, do you think the reason, or have you looked into the root cause of why traditional rulers are not really given the place that they used to occupy? Do you think it's because, I remember there was a time there was a proliferation of autonomous communities and almost every family had an Igwe and things like that. Do you think that's a major cause of, this relegation?
I don't think so.
Okay, what do you think is the cause of the relegation?
Government, they have not paid any attention to that. For instance, our governor here, he's doing a lot of work in security. He has not, I think, it has not occurred to him to deal with the traditional aspect of the security setup. Because I know the kind of person he is. Whenever he picks interest to get this done, he will get it done and done very well. I believe that in no distance time, the governor will assemble all the traditional rulers and advise us on this security. He should advise us and he should not delay further because things are really getting out of hand. We have what it takes, the traditional rulers, to deal with our security in our environment, in our communities. Are you aware that even in some communities, they know the criminals?
Yeah.
Do you know in some communities, they harbor these people that go to create problem here and there. But because they're afraid of them, they don't want to give the government that kind of information. But if you see, if an Igwe has, with any kind of information that some marauders are residing somewhere, with the help of the government, he can be able to attack and remove them from there. But they will not do it because they are not sure of their protection. And once they go out there and do what they are not supposed to do, not allowed by the government, they have problem. So that is one. And I believe that our governor definitely will assemble us any of these anytime soon, so that we can deliberate and discuss on this security issue.
Before we get to the incident in Archie, that happened in Archie where some policemen were actually shot and killed. Let's talk about the other parts, because I believe that where there are advantages, there could be disadvantages. The only thing is that you just weigh the pros and the cons. Now, what are some of the disadvantages or the cons of state policing? Is there a way to make sure that states, you've seen some state actors that have actually become larger than life in Nigeria. Imagine if they had a state police under their command. Is there no fear of, state police being used for political purposes by some state actors? Is there a way of applying checks and balances to state policing?
Very interesting. Thank you very much. The incident that happened in Archie is very, very unfortunate. And we, within that local government, we have tried to see how we can restructure our security architecture. And we've done so well. What I discovered and what I feel that really happened in that incident is because these people, they came unannounced, unexpected.
You say these people, have they been identified?
No. The people that did what they did.
Yes.
You can't say whether it's this or that. I don't want to mention anybody. But it happened and it has happened. If, for instance, if I'm involved in that kind of security outfit, I would rather suggest to the police not to be stationed at any point. It has happened severally. Because when they know you are at point A, they are prepared to attack you at point A. But if you are moving, you can intermittently stop vehicles and do your check and move. They will be more careful. But the situation where you are always there and they know you are there, they'll get themselves prepared. You are not prepared to face them. You are not expecting them. But if the government can provide vehicles that can be moving them, not to be stationed at a place, but can be moving them along the road, and they have a good communication system that you can talk to each other, either with walkie-talkie or what have you. Talk to each other very regularly. You see, when something happens here, You then inform the people
Ahead.
of you. This is what is happening. This car, red car, and all that. See, stop them and be very careful. You know, that kind of thing. When they know that this kind of setup is in place, you see, they'll be very, very careful. You understand what I'm saying? To me, I would really advise that, you know, establishing a checkpoint at a particular point is not the best for our
Mobile
security.
checkpoint should be.
Mobile checkpoint should be the best
All right.
for us now.
All right, Igwe, hold that thought because I have a follow-up question. We'll go on another break, still talking Quest for State Police and expected impact on national security. Just stay with us.
Thank you.
We are local.
We are right now with the wife of the man that was
Why the main market is in chaos. People are
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye. Aye. We have taken the bill by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
Welcome back. We're still talking state policing and expected impact on national security. Very interesting conversation with Igwe Sunday Orah. Igwe, you did mention that the security framework in your locality or your community is quite impressive, right? So in this case, in terms of what happened to the policemen, I'm trying to see how they are policemen. I mean, they are the last line of defense, if you ask me. Is there a synergy in security where local vigilante or groups protect the police? Because what would they have done in this case to make the outcome different? I'm trying to see how I can I can frame the question, because if your local vigilante is top-notch, that is good, is good, but it is for the community and not to protect the police. So, but is there a synergy? Was there something that would have, turned out differently, if the local vigilantes were more empowered?
Thank you very much. Let me put it this way. In Oju River, for instance, the police in Oju River are doing so well. They are very, very effective. But it won't take because of one incident and judge the entire system. It's not done that way. They always have an interactive section with the local vigilantes very often. Very, very often. What happened in Nacho could have happened anywhere. What I'm trying to say here is we need to put a lot of things in place so that we can check this kind of ugly incident. The police, if the vigilante is properly arranged, if they are empowered, they will help the police to be on the road most times. You see, along that Oju River and Achi Road, there used to be a spot these kidnappers operate. What did they do? They asked the vigilante people to be stationed there, not the police. And they were there for a very, very long time. And the kidnapping dropped in the entire zone. Now, the local government chairman is another person who has the interest of security of Oju local government had. They have acquired drones. All the road networks, they are trying to connect them to make sure that there's free of movement so that they can check if there's any incident anywhere. With the drone, they can check and have a faster way of moving to that location. That is very, very important. They spend more money in security now in Oju River than before. One, because we are neighbors to, for instance, Anambra. His Excellency Soludo is doing so well. He's moving them out of Anambra, and most of them are being flushed into Enugu State through the border. We have a common boundary with also Abia State. So most times they operate from there. They come to Oji River. But local government chairman is now trying to see how he can establish military presence in most of those areas, especially all these red spots.
Military presence?
Yes.
Is that the job of the military?
No, it's not their job, but what can we do? There's nothing, they are the people that even helping us to get certain things done quickly. In Inyi, they are there, they are stationed there. And their presence there has made a lot of things to calm down, security-wise. Now, if only the government can empower the neighborhood watch, they can do great work. You see these neighborhood people, at times I work with them till 2 o'clock in the morning. I go out with them 2 o'clock. What does that tell you? It shows that there is a kind of awareness in the communities. And what I'm doing is what other traditional rulers are doing in their respective communities. So Oji River for me is not, they are not porous, if I may use this word, for the criminals to always come in and operate and get out from there. We have learned our lessons in a very, very hard way. That's why we have our own security in Achi. They are paid every month. There are many. And we give them vehicles to operate. But we need government help, assistance, to be able to maintain them. You can't be maintaining about 24 security men, paying them from the local, from this archipels for the past 2 years. It's giving some problem. But government is supposed to appreciate that and get involved so that we can strengthen their work arrangement.
And it can be sustainable too.
And it can be sustained.
Well, has there been any updates as to the incidents with the slain policemen? Has there been any development?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
I don't think there's any. Though I have to ask and find out.
All right. Okay. Sorry about that.
No, it's all right.
The past administration had this forest guards instituted to curb insecurity. What has been the experience for your community and maybe neighboring communities? Are they still operating? How effective are they? Are they synergizing with local vigilantes on ground? What has the experience been with forest guards?
When this forest guard was formed newly, they were very, very effective. Very, very. Because they go to the farms and trying to do their work. But as time goes on, they continue they are fading. They are no more as effective as they were when they were first inaugurated. We still have their presence, but it's not that effective. What the government need to do is to always ask them to come, assemble them, and energize them, try to put a new life into them so that they will know their job and they will be able to do what they need to do and know that their job is in the forest and they are paid to be in that forest. Not, if I may say, not always, but most times they're supposed to be there. But in recent times, I don't see them again in the forest. Some of them, especially from my place, I don't see them. Recently, they complained that these headers are there in the farms, uprooting their product. Their crops, and then facing all kind of threat. So, if the forest guards are there, we don't need to experience this again. It's supposed to drive them away. But now it is us, the villagers in my community. We ask them to go to the farms and make noise, so that if they are very close, those people can leave. Not to hurt them, not to find them, but to scare them away. This is where we find ourselves. So that is the situation. We need to empower the neighborhood watch. The forest guards. We need to empower them. We need to recruit more of them. If they are there, you should know that in security, they're acting as forest guards and as security at the same time for the people. Wherever they are, they're security officers. They are not, for the fact they go to the farms, does not stop them from doing other security jobs. Activities. That is it.
Now, if the forest guards are empowered and the local vigilantes are empowered, what there will be the gap that we will need the state policing to fill if these outfits are empowered?
No, you see, to me, if they are empowered, by the time this state police is in place, we can always recruit those ones to the police because they've gone through a lot of process and training. So they understand what security is all about. It's just a little touch to what they have learned already. We make them, credible to be police, whether state police or whatever. So they go to Ojiriba. They go for training most times on regular basis at Ojiriba. So they know what security is all about. So it will be easier for the state to convert their position to state police instead of recruiting new entrants.
All right. So aside improvements in security of lives and properties, now, do you see any economic security that comes from state policing? Because you did mention when we started this interview that there are different kinds of security. All right, there's financial security, economic security, security of lives and properties. So aside security of lives, properties, what other gains can the state or even the national gain from establishing state policing?
Fine. What I feel the state or the federal government will gain from this, when you employ people that are within a space, for instance, within a local government or within the state, they are aware of the environment. For you what the politicians are scared of is converting them to be a kind of opposition, one way or the other, because they will be influenced either by the governor or by whoever to work for them. But it doesn't work that way. Like I said, security is everybody's business. There is no how. If it happens, you never can say when and where.
Or who.
So if we must disabuse our mind for trying to, be liberal when it comes to security. Let us not think that it's only me. If it doesn't work, this man will take my position because he has state police. You're not thinking of your relations, your father, your mother, your brothers, your siblings, because they're exposed to the same risk. If we do get it right, all of us will be happy and will be free and will be safe. But if we continue to push for individual interests, we are going to fail completely. It's just what is delaying this state police. Because they are not sure whether the governors or the state or whatever will hijack the state police and use them as thugs against them, against their opponents and what have you. That is one of the major reasons why I feel they are delaying this state police issue. My advice is security is everybody's business. It's not tied down to any particular individual or community or state. It's not true. Try to understand this. If those people are operating somewhere up north, they can move and go to any other place to operate. Then what do you put in place? What is in place for you to be able to challenge them when they appear here? We have to think ahead of time.
That's right. Thank you so much, Igwe. And this is a good place to end the interview because security, you said, is everybody's business.
That's right.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been a great conversation with His Royal Highness Igwe Sunday Orah, talking about the quest for state police and expected impact on national security. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. That's the much we can take for the show today.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.